Before Bobby Orr arrived,
Green trying to get a play started.
there was Ted Green.
Who's your favorite Bruin?
Well, I kind of like Teddy Green.
Starting in 1960-61, when Green shows up, he becomes the star of the team.
Green got daylight.
When you're going to a game, you want to see Teddy Green.
Teddy Green would have absolutely, by consensus, been viewed as the top Bruin.
Green gets away from Russo. Still has it. Going in a shot. A save.
For most of the 60s, the Bruins never made the playoffs, but Terrible Teddy finished in the top 5 in penalty minutes.
Well, that was a misnomer. I wasn't really that terrible.
Teddy Green scrambling for it.
Rugged defenseman would always be the guy to get in scraps. He was our guy. He was our enforcer.
He's the first guy that's going to drop his mitts if he has to. I wouldn't call him dirty, but I would call him nasty.
Opponents and teammates knew of Green's exploits.
I mean, he was on the ice a lot, and he was a tough character. But Teddy was a heck of a player.
Green labored through 7 losing seasons before the arrival of Bobby Orr and Phil Esposito.
Right now, you just can't wait to get out there.
You can hear the noise in the other room. The guys are real happy.
The Bruins were considered Stanley Cup contenders in the fall of 1969. That changed dramatically when Green was severely injured in an exhibition game against the Blues in Ottawa.
Wayne Mackey hit him with the heel of his stick in the soft part of the head.
That scared the heck out of me.
It was a hard blow for the team because he was the heart and soul of our team.
I remember being carried up a stretcher in the Ottawa Civic Center to the ambulance, and things got progressively worse as I was in hospital.
Green had suffered a depressed skull fracture. He was in critical condition, and the players held a vigil at their hotel room. Ed Westfall couldn't wait any longer and talked his way into Green's room with the assistance of a doctor.
She said, you could say anything you want. It stays here in this room, but we just need to notice or at least recognize that there's somebody in the room. So I'm screaming at Teddy. I said, you couldn't beat my mother in the best day. You lost every fight. And I'm screaming at him. And this is going on. I mean, the nurse said, this is unreal. And then all of a sudden, I said, he's squeezing my hand. She said, keep going, keep yelling at him. And I'm just yelling and screaming at Teddy Green. I said, if he ever gets up, he's going to kill me. Yeah, and I'm crying, she's crying.
Green did get up and eventually left the hospital about a month later. He returned to Boston around Thanksgiving.
My doctor's, he's of the opinion that I should recoup 100%. It's good to be back in Boston.
The 1970 NHL playoff format pitted the original 6 East Division versus the expansion West Division. So many believed the Bruins lifting the cup was fait accompli.
Back to Rick Smith, the drive. Wakely stopped it. Busick got the rebound and scored. Johnny Busick gets the hat trick and grabs the puck.
While the Esposito line dominated the Chicago series, the John Busick, Fred Stanfield, John McKenzie line rose to the occasion in the Stanley Cup Final.
Out to Stanfield. Goal! 1-0. The Bruins played on a power play goal by Freddie Stanfield, and a pretty goal it was.
Busick and line mates scored 9 points in the 2 games in St. Louis to give the Bruins a 2-game edge on the Blues.
Goal! It's 6-2 Boston.
Then added to their total in Game 3 at the Boston Garden.
McKenzie, shot, goal! And it's 2-1 Boston.
Freddie put it right on my stick and I just cranked it in the net. And I think it went in between his legs. It was a lucky shot, but I guess they make up for something you miss.
At the NHL award ceremony before Game 4, where Orr collected his hardware, number 4 still had his eyes on the big prize.
Only one more trophy left, and that's the Conn Smythe. And if you ever sweep that, you'll be the first man in history to do it. You know that, don't you?
Well, there's one other trophy we like to talk about. It's one we hope to pick up Sunday. That's the Stanley Cup. And sure, like all our other guys, I'm really getting excited about it. I think we'll have a little edge on them, and we should pick it up Sunday, I hope.
The Bruins entered Game 4, leading the series 3-0. The game went into overtime, and the question was, which Bruins line would start?
We're in the locker room sitting there, and everybody's saying, we're going to start, okay, we're going to get the goal, whatever.
Derek and I got kibitzing back and forth. I said, I think we're going to start, so you don't have to worry about it, Derek. He says, no. I think Berenson's going to start over there, and Harry's going to start our line.
Wayne Carleton, Derek Sanderson, and myself were the best line on the team at that time.
Harry Sittinen has taken a lot of questions on this, and he said, "It is my experience that most overtime games end in the first minute or two."
I started our best defensive line so that they wouldn't get an opportunity early.
And fair enough, Harry comes in and says, "Derek, your line starts." And Derek says, "You won't get on the ice."
So we haven't had very much Stanley Cup playoff overtime this year, but we're going to see some here today between two fine hockey teams, the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues. Racing in is Carlton for the Bruins.
It didn't matter which line. Bobby Orr was on the ice.
Here's Don Orr.
Sunday, May 10th, Mother's Day.
But now Sanderson a drive, and that one whistled wide.
40 seconds into the fourth period of the fourth game.
Westfall rolled it in front, Sanderson.
Number 4 delivered.
Heated, cleared him, but not out. Bobby Orr behind the net to Sanderson. Orr! Bobby Orr! Scores for the Boston Bruins! Have won the Stanley Cup! Orr! After 40 seconds of overtime!
Fait accompli, it was.
The roar from the crowd. Just listen to them.
Amidst the wild celebration inside the Garden, there stood Teddy Green amongst his teammates at center ice.
He's in tears.
You know, this really is a very emotional moment for a very emotional team.
The tears were coming out of his eyes. Bobby was crying. I was crying.
I guess we all had tears by then.
It was very emotional.
That was very important for all of us.
Ted Green being embraced by Hodge.
Not just Teddy Green, but for us.
I don't like to think I get tearful at times, but I can think of moments there that made me feel pretty darn good, and 1970 does it all.
The roar is deafening here in Boston as they bring the Stanley Cup out onto the ice. And Busick skates around with the cup to the